of your FICO. 760 and up, you know that's life goals. If your credit too low, walking on the tightrope. So yo, credit up, get your credit up. Credit up, get your credit up. Credit up.
What I want you to talk about first is like the importance of credit. You feel me? Before we get into the repair part, I want to know like what really inspired you to get into the credit business. Why is it important for everybody to take the information that we're going to give them tonight seriously?
Right? So this happened probably in about 2016, right? And I don't think anybody like on my followers, too many people know this about me. It's more so my immediate circle, right? So Pops died, shot and killed 2014, right? Right on grandmom's steps. You know what I mean? We had a close family friend, you know, basically come in, try to save face, or I'll help you out, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop, whatever you need, right? He basically ended up scamming grandmoms out of the crib. You dig what I'm saying? And then he ended up getting jammed up. You know, the district attorney started to pursue him, everything, and he tried to short sale the crib. So my uncle, you know what I mean, he's been in and out of the streets. He got his ear to the streets. He's basically like, yo, now you need to go holler at your folks. Like, I heard something shady's going down. So I'm like, I bet. So I ended up going and get the crib, right? Go through the long process, going through court. Basically, it happened for like 6-7 months, bro. And long story short, I ended up getting the crib, ended up getting an FHA loan, you know what I mean? And then because I was so new to the game, I didn't have the proper guidance or mentor, whatever the case may be. I'm just learning as I'm going. I ended up getting beat from for $80,000 by contractors. So I took like an $80,000 L going through contractors. I went through about 3 of them things. And so now I'm in the crib, right? I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. I'm borrowing money from friends, family, anything just not to get a late payment because I already know that it'll mess your credit up, right? So at that point in time, I had a 789, but I didn't understand the importance of it. You know what I'm saying? I just knew you needed good credit. So now I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul. So now I'm like, yo, I got to figure out a way to get some extra bread, right? So now I'm at my desk at my job, and I'm like, what are some of the easiest ways for me to bring in money that doesn't require me to put out a whole bunch of money, doesn't require a whole bunch of work? So one of the top things was, it was like landscaping, credit repair, bookkeeping. And I'm like, I know I want to do real estate eventually. I know credit repairs, I know credit is important. You got to be able to have one to get the other. And then for me personally, I have a background in psychology. I got my master's, so I was doing therapy prior to my current gig. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, this is another way for me to help. But in my opinion, based off of my history, to help on a greater scale, right? So I also know one of the biggest things when it comes to poverty and mental health is finances, right? So a lot of people wouldn't be trapping if they had financial literacy. A lot of people wouldn't be risking their life if they knew how to go out and get a bag. A lot of people wouldn't be busting their ass and, you know, all night, 24 hours to get maybe $100,000 a year if they could get credit and get $100,000 in a month. It changes the game. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, this is my opportunity to give back on a greater scale, change the trajectory of these folks, and change the trajectory of the life of my people around me. So then I started to dive into the credit game. And once I started to fully submerge, bro, it was life-changing. Because with a lot of people, just think of credit like, all right, cool, I needed to get a car. All right, cool, I needed to get a house. But they don't think about the little things, like credit's gonna dictate where you live at. You dig what I'm saying? Like, where do you actually rest your head at? Number one. And the reason why that is so important, right, is because how does that translate to where your kids go to school? Where do your kids go to school at? Do you want your kids going to school in the hood where they got to go walk through metal detectors? Where they got to come outside and, you know, there's a potential drive-by. You know what I mean? They got to come outside and there's needles on the ground, right? Like, we don't want to expose them to things that they have no business being exposed to. And, you know, in the psychology world, we call that being parentified. You got to grow up before you actually grow up. You dig what I'm saying? So my thing was like, all right, cool. I know at the age of 13, there's a study, at the age of 13, you know, people of color, especially, you know, black boys, they're already considered adults. So when you start getting into the credit game, you understand the magnitude of it. Like, yo, this changes where I live at. This changes where my kids rest their heads at. Like, we don't have to worry about bullet holes coming through the window. We don't got to worry about going outside and seeing crack pipes and needles. You dig what I'm saying? And then the other piece of it is, which a lot of people don't even think about, right? This was back in 2000, I would say 12, I got my car. Little Honda Accord, right? I'm trying to put insurance on it, and they're like, yo, it's going to cost you $450. I'm like, why the hell is it going to cost me $450? It's a 2003 Honda Accord. Oh, because of where you live at. So because I stayed in the hood and the urban community where there's a lot of car thefts, you know what I mean, and car accidents, guess what? Now my car insurance is through the roof. You dig what I'm saying? So these are the little things that people don't even think about when it comes time to getting their credit fixed or whatever the case may be. Now, let's think about what we all know. For a car, right? If I got to drive a car, you're talking about a 1.9 interest rate opposed to a 12% interest rate. Guess what? You get a 12% interest rate, you're going to end up spending double on the car than what you would have if you had a 1.9 interest rate, right? But the crazy part is while you're signing the contract and they're like, oh, you're looking at only a few $100s or a couple $100. A couple $100 ain't nothing until you see it long term and you realize I just paid $35,000 for a $20,000 car. You know what I'm saying? So these are the types of things that people got to take into consideration when it comes to the credit. This is why credit is so important. I'll give you a major one, right? I think we got a lot of probably parents on here. You dig what I'm saying? How about putting your kid down on your card as an authorized user? Some credit card companies, you could do it as soon as they're born, right? And what that means is by the time they graduate, guess what? They got a 700 credit score. We could go into the bank. We could get whatever we want. So we talking about mailbox millionaires. How about we make our kids millionaires before they even get to 18? You dig what I'm saying?